types of Christians: the people who are always raised in the church, and then the people who have these amazing stories of how God changed their lives. On Tuesday, Big Chap spoke about how we can break away from the shame the sins we have committed have brought upon us, how we can break free from those chains that kept us down, and turning those sins into salvation instead of something we're ashamed of. And I personally could really relate to this because last summer I feel like my life fell apart from all the sins I've committed, to every mistake that has kept me down. When I'm disappointed with my parents and with a bad decision, and when I needed God most of my life, He saved me from depression, from drugs, and from the peer pressure that goes along with most legal things. When no one else was there, God was there. And since last summer, God has been with me every step of the way. And sometimes more than others, but for the most part, I know I'm a Christian and God has a plan for me. While at camp, Big Chap made me think about last summer and how I was secretly so ashamed of what had happened that it was actually holding me down. Chains of sin were holding me down from salvation. I was kind of locked in my own prison, but the door was open, like Joel said. Chap had a big box of chains in the back of the lodge that night. While we had our heads down and we were about to pray, he said if any of us had something that was holding us down, to go to the front and put one of the chains in front of the cross. And as soon as he said that, I literally jumped out of my seat and almost fell down. And it was amazing. God gave me the key. He broke away my chain that was holding me back. And I just thank you for sending me to camp. That is the most amazing feeling in the world. And now all I want to do is tell others about my story and tell them how I found God. When everything felt like it was falling apart, when I needed God in my life, He was there. When I broke free from the chains that were holding me down, I knew that something changed in my life. Something I was so ashamed of can now help me save others from their past or their present. I want to change people's lives like Big Chap and other speakers like him. And God wants me to share my story, to no longer be ashamed of what happened, that I can save the people who need something to relate to get that extra boost they need. And that was pretty much Tuesday night. Thanks again for sending me to camp, making it all possible. It's amazing. Now Wednesday night. Before I went to camp, I was like most Christians of my generation. I had that title of Beyond a Christian, but I didn't know what my purpose was and what kind of relationship I had with Christ was not so much as exclusive as I wanted it to be. And it was pretty much where I would only talk to God when I needed something. And I knew that that was wrong and I wanted to change that. The week before camp, I was having second thoughts on going. I didn't want God to change my life like people who I previously went to camp said it was going to. I thought I had it all figured out. My life was as good as it was going to get, and man, was I wrong. When Big Chat spoke that first word on Wednesday night, I was instantly drawn in, like when a man smells bacon in the morning. He instantly wakes up from a deep sleep, and he follows the aroma of the bacon. My soul was hungry for God. When Big Chat spoke about this man who was walking over Niagara Falls on a rope with a wheelbarrow full of miscellaneous objects like rocks and water, and the man who was pushing the wheelbarrow would ask the crowd of people below, do you believe I can push these rocks across? And they would all say, yes, we do. We believe you. He would push the rocks across. And after he was done, he said, let me push you across. And the crowd fell silent. And at that moment in time, my life was changed again. With God. My relationship with God was exactly like the crowd of people. Yes, I believed, but I wasn't in the wheelbarrow. I was more like halfway in with the other foot on land. And that night I put all my faith and trust into God. I got into God's wheelbarrow without looking back. I was ready to have God in my life full time, not just during the good times and not just during the bad times when I needed Him the most. I wanted my relationship to be exclusive with God. My life was changed because of camp. I want to share how great God really is to my peers, to people like me, who are Christians and need that final push to get in the wheelbarrow, to turn their chair to face God instead of turning it away from Him. Thank you for helping me get to camp this year, and one day I'll be like Big Chap or speaking at Watermarks or some other camp, changing so many lives just like mine was changed at my camp experience. Thank you.